After spending time with Kuroki and Shen Wulong, Ohma made his way to the Super Japan Pro Wrestling Dojo to spar with its members. Inside, both Kono Haruo and Ohma were in the midst of a sparring session. Kono rushed toward Ohma in an attempt to take him down, but upon making contact, he realized he couldn't move, much to the shock of the spectators. Ohma had effortlessly stopped Kono in his tracks, despite the clear difference in weight, and flipped him over. Ohma then suggested they go again, but Kono, exhausted from the exchange, asked if they could take a snack break first. This prompted Ohma to ask if Kono was already done. Kono wondered aloud how Ohma had so much stamina, but he was even more confused about how he had been stopped so easily despite tackling Ohma with maximum effort. Soon after, Jose Kanzaki tagged in, offering to take over for Kono. Ohma noticed that Jose wasn't wearing his mask and called him out on it. Jose clarified that when he wears the mask, he goes by El Ninja, and it's common knowledge that they're the same person. Without hesitation, Jose threw a punch at Ohma, who slipped through it effortlessly. Ohma noticed that Jose was holding back and ordered him to attack with full intent. Jose complied, launching a rolling sobat, a spinning kick aimed at Ohma. Ohma purposely took the strike, but it didn't faze him, which Jose quickly picked up on. Jose backed away and followed up with a punch aimed at Ohma's face. This time, Ohma took the hit willingly and was knocked back slightly, but he sustained little damage. Jose analyzed their exchange, noting that his strikes weren't hitting Ohma's core. He wondered how Ohma was pulling this off and if this was the same technique Ohma had used to sidestep Kono. Jose then warned Ohma that he was an A-list purgatory gladiator and that it was best not to mess with him. Ohma reassured him that he wasn't messing around, as he always takes his fights seriously. As Jose advanced again, Ohma watched intently, recalling how Shen Wulong had explained the essence of a strike. Suddenly, someone entered the dojo and asked Kono and Karachi how Ohma was doing. Karachi responded, stating that he didn't need to explain, but admitted that Ohma's combat abilities were fantastic. He was sure something had changed in Ohma. Ohma, reflecting on the exchange, noted that he had taken 2 hits, and realized he still had a long way to go. Meanwhile, Jose called the situation a nightmare, as it seemed like Ohma was toying with him like a child. Suddenly, Sekibayashi entered the ring, apologizing to Ohma for the long wait, and announcing that the headliner had finally arrived. Karachi asked Jose for his impression of Ohma. Jose admitted that he hadn't felt any feedback from his strikes, and it felt like he punching air. Kono agreed, sharing the same feeling from his earlier spar. He admits that it's not normal. He continues, stating, "It'd be one thing if he was big, or strong, or executed his moves perfectly, but this is a whole different beast." Sekibayashi tells him that it's been ages since they last fought, while Ohma thanks him for agreeing to this sparring session. Suddenly, Sekibayashi hits Ohma with a powerful chop to his chest, fully in heel mode, but Ohma shrugs it off. The sound of the impact, however, is odd, which is something Jose immediately notices. Karachi observes that Ohma is scattering the force of the impact, while Jose notes that even Sekibayashi's attacks aren't working. Kono, however, remains hopeful that Sekibayashi can still figure it out. Sekibayashi strikes again, and this time, the impact and sound are different. The group wonders if Seki's attack finally landed. Sekibayashi realizes that while a backhand chop doesn't work, an open palm slap does, revealing that the attack had indeed connected. Jose deduces that the greater the contact area, the harder it is for Ohma to disperse the force. He's surprised that Sekibayashi figured this out so quickly, a testament to Seki's combat intellect. Sekibayashi follows up with a shoulder ram, knocking Ohma back. Kono is confused, why did his tackle fail while Seki's ram succeeded? Jose explains that a headfirst ram has a greater contact area than a tackle. Ohma admits that it's harder to block a broad surface than a single point. He acknowledges that Sekibayashi has figured out his trick and compliments him on his sharp observation. Ohma clenches his fist and delivers a powerful punch straight to Sekibayashi's chest. Feeling the immense force of the blow, Sekibayashi wonders when Ohma's punches became so heavy. Ohma follows up with another punch, this time to Sekibayashi's face. Seki attempts to retaliate with an overhead chop, but he feels his attack land, realizing that Ohma can't disperse the impact when pinned to the ground. This reveals that Ohma's defense isn't infallible after all. Sekibayashi then grabs Ohma, attempting to grapple him. However, Ohma quickly counters, throwing Seki to the ground and kicking him in the back. Ohma apologizes for the sudden throw and admits that he can't match Sekibayashi in grappling, so he used his Nico-style redirection kata, Weeping Willow, to escape. During the exchange, Sekibayashi felt as though his strength was being pulled in every direction, and notes that whatever Ohma is doing, it's not his old Nico style. Jose tells Kono to observe and learn as much as he can. He knows for a fact that Ohma has become a monster of a fighter, but Sekibayashi is putting up a better fight than he did, despite being equal in power. Jose deduces that it must be Sekibayashi's adaptability, or rather, his imagination. Sekibayashi is using anything and everything at his disposal. Impressed by both fighters' expertise, Jose notes that they're both amazing for different reasons. After some time, Ohma and Sekibayashi end their sparring session. It's unclear who came out on top, perhaps it was a draw. Ohma admits that he took too many hits and notes that he can't redirect all of Sekibayashi's blows when he's tired. Sekibayashi, exhausted and lying on the mat, taunts Ohma, saying he's learned a lesson about a pro wrestler's tenacity. Ohma fires back, teasing Sekibayashi for being laid out on the mat. Sekibayashi jokingly tells Ohma to shut up, reminding him that he's over 40 and no spring chicken. Sitting up, Sekibayashi asks Ohma if his upcoming opponent is really that strong. Ohma confirms it, stating that he's not even close to ready and needs to get even stronger. The scene shifts to a parking lot, where Shen Wulong and Xia Yan are standing. Shen Luohan is also there, stating that he already knew Xia had figured out his plans. He gets straight to the point, declaring that he wants the connector's memories. Xia demands to know why Luohan betrayed them. Luohan responds, saying that betrayal isn't the word he'd use. He explains that he never swore allegiance to the connector, who has always been a thorn in his side. Shen Wulong backs up Luohan's confession, agreeing that he's got a point. However, Xia questions Shen, asking why he's taking Luohan's side during such an important conversation and tells him to be quiet. Xia then adds that he has shown Luohan respect as a clone of the connector and overlooked his scheming with the other Nico. But now, Xia pulls out his clawed fingers, warning Luohan that his clear hostility will not be tolerated. He threatens to eliminate Luohan on the spot. Luohan tries to de-escalate the situation, explaining that today is his day off and he didn't bring any men with him. He urges Xia not to get ahead of himself and to let him finish speaking, as the connector stands to benefit from this as well. Shen, once again, admits that Luohan has a point. Luohan then turns to Shen, asking if his life has become boring because he's so strong that no one can challenge him, like playing a video game on the easiest setting. Since that's the case, Luohan offers to become an enemy strong enough to give Shen a real challenge. Xia, however, is having none of it. Blinded by rage, he tells Luohan that he's chosen disappointing last words. His fingers twitch, ready to slice Luohan apart with his claws. But Shen steps in, stopping Xia from pouncing. He tells Xia to calm down, as he's not thinking straight. Xia warns Shen not to interfere, but Shen continues to hold him back, explaining that they have no choice, because if they kill Luohan, he'll take out a bunch of people with nukes. Luohan confirms this, casually stating that if they kill him, the world might end up a little broken. Given the situation, Shen doesn't want to cause trouble for his friends and ponders what to do next. Xia, deep in thought, knows he has prepared countermeasures for the Death Dealer's betrayal, but he's aware that Luohan has likely anticipated them. They'll have to proceed with caution. Shen then asks Luohan if all he wants is his memories. Luohan confirms, adding that he couldn't care less about Shen's millennia of personal memories, he's only interested in the martial arts knowledge. Shen agrees to the deal, though Xia remains unsure. Shen asks Xia if they can set this up at the Worm Laboratory in Hong Kong. Shen recalls using the machine there to visit the time when the worm was researching cyberbrains. He had input his martial arts memories into the computer, which would make Luohan more powerful if he accessed them. However, Shen informs Luohan that he can't download the memories directly into his brain, he'll have to memorize them manually. Luohan is fine with this and thanks Shen for the first time in his life. As Xia and Shen begin to leave, Shen comments that Luohan sure knows how to pick the worst possible timing. Xia calls him out, asking if Luohan wasn't originally supposed to be his playmate. Shen confirms this, adding that he always knew Luohan hated him. Xia asks Shen again if he's really going to give Luohan his memories and make him stronger. He adds that it's a shame Shen has no equal, but he insists that Shen must take Luohan down. Xia promises to be an ally to Shen instead of Luohan. Shen agrees with Xia, confident that he can probably beat Luohan. He states that even with his memories, Luohan will never come close to him in pure skill. However, Shen acknowledges that there are no guarantees in a fight. He reflects on how both he and Luohan were cloned from the previous connector, a cruel twist of fate that placed them in the same body. To resolve this, they came up with a plan to create clones of each other, returning them to being two separate entities. Luohan was the first of their clones, but his DNA didn't match either of theirs. Shen states that Luohan is neither him nor the previous connector, he's something else, something extremely similar but distinctly different. Xia, deep in thought, acknowledges that it's unusual for a clone's DNA to differ from the original's. Luohan's abnormalities make him clearly different from the connector, and that difference is what makes him so dangerous. Xia wonders if Luohan is the aberrant individual his father had warned him about. Now that the meeting is over, Shen decides to call Narashima for some beers, much to Xia's dismay. Xia scolds Shen, telling him to stop acting like he has all the time in the world. He reminds Shen that the last time he took time off, he ended up visiting karaoke. If Xia remembers correctly, Shen came home late and seemed to have had a good time. Xia asks if something nice happened in the mountains. Shen confirms that he did have a good time, and mentions that his new playmate, the one he has the most hope for, is coming along quite nicely. The scene shifts to a train station, where Kosuke is waving goodbye to Koga and Ryuki, who return the gesture and board the train. As they walk away, Kosuke marvels at his friend's fighting abilities, hardly able to imagine the battles they've been through. He quietly wishes that they don't die on him. With only 6 months remaining until the Kengan match, the stakes are higher than ever. After finishing his training, Ohma heads to Yamashita Corporation, where he receives a warm welcome and some lunch upon his return. Ohma remembers that Ryuki and Koga must be returning from their trip as well. Yamashita confirms this, adding that Miss Akiyama has gone to pick them up. Ohma turns to Kushida Rin and asks if she doesn't have work to do. Rin laughs, confirming that she does, and states that their top priority is finding the location of Luohan's weapons of mass destruction. She mentions that she's been looking into the Death Dealer's fight logs but hasn't found much information. Yamashita doesn't blame her, as they don't even know when the Death Dealers were brought into the picture. Setting that matter aside, Yamashita asks Ohma if he's coming over for dinner. Ohma agrees, saying he'll join once he's done with his errands. He then makes one final request to Yamashita, leaving him wondering why Ohma needs so many people. The scene shifts again, this time to a restaurant where Ryuki, Koga, and Akiyama are sitting together, discussing the food. Akiyama eventually asks Koga about their training. Koga says it went well and mentions that he heard the Kengan match against Shen Wulong is in 6 months. Akiyama confirms this, adding that they're still finalizing the rules of the match. This entire situation makes Koga reflect on the Kengan vs. Purgatory tournament. Back then, he was powerless, but now he can join the fight alongside Ryuki. Ryuki chimes in, stating that 6 months is plenty of time to get stronger. The two dap each other up, and Ryuki tells Koga, "Let's get stronger together." The scene shifts once more, this time to a rural area. Hidden beneath this quiet landscape lies a secret underground facility. Inside, 2 individuals are searching for something. One of the men, walking down the hall, expresses his disappointment that the worm chose to place their supercomputer in such a bland location, mocking them for their lack of taste. The 2 men are revealed to be Takita Nico and Luohan, both searching for Shen Wulong's memories. Nico asks Luohan if Shen's memories will really help him close the gap between them. He also questions whether Luohan plans to hog all the memories for himself. Luohan denies this, reminding Nico that they're partners and encourages him to take a look if he's interested. Luohan tells Takita Nico that no one has ever accessed Shen's memories apart from the connector. If anything were to happen, it would be his responsibility. Now that they've located Shen's memories, they decide to read as much as they can. The computer powers on, revealing the vast trove of information stored within. The scene shifts again, this time to the Rokushinkaiken HQ. Ohma Takeda follows a member inside, walking past another fighter. Upon seeing him, Ohma can immediately tell that the man is strong. His guide explains that the man's name is Osu, the instructor at their Kichijoji branch, and indeed, he's a formidable fighter. The instructor leads Ohma to a door where a group of people is waiting for him. Ohma thanks Osu for showing him around and opens the door. Inside, 5 individuals stand waiting for Ohma. The men are Toamudo, Narushima Joji, Takuno Otokumikai, Lu Dongchun, and Kureishi. Ohma greets them, saying he's glad everyone made it and that it's time to begin the sparring session. He apologizes for calling everyone on such short notice, though he admits he didn't expect Kureishi to show up. Kureishi jokes that Ohma will need someone to pump the brakes, especially with the caliber of fighters he's sparring against. Lu volunteers to go first, declaring that Ohma is about to witness the essence of Chinese Kung Fu. However, Toa interrupts, insisting that he'll be the one to start things off. Toamudo, an A-list purgatory gladiator, is known for his unparalleled strength and his tribe's traditional martial arts. He once fought Julius Reinhold in a legendary match, showcasing his immense power. The two fighters stand face to face as Narushima dramatically declares that Ohma's fiery 5 fights are now underway. He also adds that all fights will be to the death. Kureishi quickly shuts him down, reminding everyone that this is just a sparring session. He outlines the actual rules. Each round will last 3 minutes, as agreed upon earlier. After 3 minutes, they'll rotate in a new fighter while Ohma continues. Kureishi also warns them to keep dangerous techniques to a minimum. Once the rules are clear, everyone prepares for the session. Before they begin, Narushima approaches Ohma and tells him that he's booked a table at Gyutami for the after-party. He reassures Ohma that the food is excellent, even though it's a bar. Toa asks Kureishi if Narushima is always like this, to which Kureishi confirms, adding that Toa will get used to his eccentric habits. Now, Ohma and Toa face each other, both admitting that they've wanted to fight each other for a while. They take their stances as Kureishi gives them the green light to start. Lu comments on the massive size difference, noting that Toa makes Ohma look like a kid. He predicts that Ohma will have a hard time against Toa's sheer physicality. Narushima, meanwhile, is just glad he requested a tatami table at the bar. Both fighters observe each other carefully. Toa, despite his superior size and strength, remains cautious. He knows Ohma is dangerous, even if he appears smaller. In his mind, Toa visualizes Ohma as a towering kaiju monster, a force to be reckoned with. Lu urges Toa to make his move, reminding him that he only has 3 minutes. Tokumikai notices that Toa is hesitant to close the distance, which surprises Kureishi, who never took Toa for the cautious type. However, Narushima notices something the others don't unless Toa is actually planning to face Ohma like this. Suddenly, Toa advances toward Ohma head-on, throwing a punch that misses. He quickly follows up with a kick, but Ohma evades it effortlessly, catching Toa off guard. Using his redirection kata, entanglement, Ohma throws Toa off balance by tossing his leg. Toa crashes into the mat, shocking the group as they witness Ohma's incredible skill. After the exchange, Toa feels embarrassed about being thrown so easily, but Ohma reassures him, saying he knew Toa would be strong and encourages him to keep going. Soon, the 3-minute timer ends, concluding the session. Looking at Toa, it's clear he had a hard time dealing with Ohma. Lu Dongcheng steps up next. Another A-list purgatory gladiator, Lu is one of the 3 demon fists, a master of Chinese Kung Fu. As Toa walks past Lu, he gives him a heads-up, warning him that Ohma is incredibly strong. Lu already knows this and plans to stay alert. Glancing at Toa, Lu notices that while he hasn't taken any visible damage, he looks completely exhausted. Analyzing the exchange, Lu realizes that Ohma threw Toa before he could even use his martial arts. He knows he won't stand a chance if he lets Ohma grapple him. Kureishi asks both fighters if they're ready and begins the countdown. He gives the signal to start, and Lu wastes no time. He immediately advances toward Ohma, launching a powerful Fa Jin strike aimed at Ohma's gut. Ohma endures the hit with relative ease. Lu follows up with another Fa Jin, each strike more powerful than the last. The impact is so great that it knocks Ohma back, but he quickly recovers and gets back on his feet. To everyone's surprise, Ohma mimics Lu's technique, using Fa Jin himself. He asks Lu how he did, noting that it's not as easy as it looks, as his attempt wasn't as powerful as Lu's. Lu is not surprised that Ohma copied Fa Jin so effortlessly, but he's even more confused as to why his own strikes didn't faze Ohma, despite landing 3 clean hits. Deciding to stop testing the waters, Lu resolves to go all out. Ohma notices the shift in Lu's demeanor, commenting that Lu now looks like he did during the competition. Ohma is excited and urges Lu to show him his full power. Lu obliges, dashing forward as both fighters simultaneously throw punches. However, Lu cancels his punch at the last moment and switches to a kick instead. Ohma dodges the kick and attempts to sweep Lu's foot, but Lu counters by shifting his body midair and launching another kick. Ohma blocks the attack, but his hand is bruised by the force. Despite the injury, Ohma isn't deterred. He suddenly advances toward Lu, unleashing a flurry of strikes. Tokumakai, observing the fight, notices that Ohma's fighting style is completely different from when he faced Toa. Against Toa, Ohma didn't throw a single strike, relying solely on grappling and redirection. Now, he's using nothing but strikes, showcasing his versatility and adaptability. Narashima deduces that Ohma is switching things up, like going for yakiniku every now and then to break the monotony of eating steak. But Toa tells him he's missing the point. Karachi chimes in, guessing that Ohma is matching his opponent's styles and trying to defeat them in the areas they excel at. Meanwhile, in the city, Kure Fusue greets Koga and Ryuki with a warm smile. She comments that they both look stronger, to which Koga wonders how she noticed. He guesses it's something about their aura seeping out, while Ryuki thanks her for coming. Fusue tells the boys it's time to get going since the others are waiting for them. Ryuki admits that he didn't expect the Kure clan to help. Fusue explains that the clan lost some members to Shen Wulong during the raid, and they must abide by the clan's honor, which demands they even the score. She then informs them that they're in for a full round of the Kure clan's Spartan training course. However, she warns them that the Kure clan won't pull their punches. Fusue lastly tells them to not die on them before the main event begins. It looks like almost everyone is preparing for Shen Wulong, especially Ohma, who this far has his incredible potential to dominate his recent opponents. But even with this strength increase, I wonder if it will be enough to beat Shen. I predict that Ohma will probably put up a good fight, but will ultimately lose to Shen due to the fact that he's just too strong. However, if Ohma were to get a hold of Shen memories like Luohan has, then maybe Ohma stands a real chance at beating the connector. I guess we'll just have to see how this all plays out in the upcoming chapters. But let me know what you think in the comments about these events. Also, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, so you can help me get to 1,000 subs this year. As always, thank you for watching and have a good day.